Hi scrapbook friends, it's Nicole from Nicole Scrapbooks, and today I'm going to share with you a layout technique that's kind of a throwback. This layout idea was called an illusion page, and the best I can tell, it was originally created by a Creative Memories consultant back in those days named Di Albert back in 2001. This layout was recently rediscovered and resurfaced by someone named Sherilyn Jones, and she posted it in the Facebook group, the Creative Memories Layout Ideas unofficial Facebook group. Now, I happen to be an admin of this Facebook group. It's a great group for sharing ideas using Creative Memories products. There are lots of scrapbook ideas out there that use whatever products, and we wanted one that was strictly for Creative Memories products. So if you're not a member there, you might want to consider joining. And that's where you can get the printed directions for the original of this layout. I think if you search for Di Albert's name in the search box, it will come up. They're just in some photos. You can look for a photo that looks very much like this. Now, Di's original layout used these old templates. Let's see if I can find a way to make it easier to see. This old, I think this was the Stars, Hearts, and Geometrics template way back in the day. It's frankly a miracle, you guys, I could find it to show you. She used the diamond shape in this template to create hers. And as soon as I saw Sherilyn's layout that she posted yesterday, I thought there's got to be a way that we can recreate this using the 12-inch trimmer. And so that's what I've done. I've recreated this layout using the 12-inch trimmer, which to me is just so much easier. And it looks like it's super tedious, but it's actually very quick to put together. So let me start with the list of supplies you're going to need. Basically, if you look at this, we're making a cube. So we're making a three-sided cube and changing the direction of it. And so if you look on here, you'll see that we have a light, a medium, and a dark color. And the light is always on the top. The medium is always over here on the left, and the dark is always over here on the right. So I did make a little cheat sheet, which, hopefully you can see, but they just said top, right, left. So if you need to like screenshot this for when you're doing your own, this might be helpful, but it's not all that hard once you just kind of remember top, left, right. And top is light, left is medium, right is dark. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do to create this is to make a little template for a trimmer. Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is to decide what colors you want to use. And what you want are 3 colors in the same color family. And I think they need to be solids. I don't know how this would work with patterns. I mean, it might work with an all over pattern, but you're going to be doing a lot of flipping, and sometimes you use the back and sometimes you use the front. So I think you're going to want solids for this one, at least to start. And you want, again, a dark, a medium, and a light, and then something to use as your base. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to use plain white for my base. I'm using black, charcoal, and gray for my colors. And you saw my samples, and I'll bring those out again later. I did a blue one and a red one. And so you're going to need, so there's 2 ways you can do the triangles. I'll show you both ways, but you're going to need a 2-inch strip. If you're low on paper, you can use just a 2-inch strip, but you can use a 2-inch strip and a 1-inch strip of each of the colors. And I like to cut anything bigger than 1 3/4. You have to cut on this side, but anytime I can cut a 1-inch, I much prefer to do it on this side. So there is a little back and forth that you may not need to do for yourself if you're okay cutting all of them on the same side. And so this is good. You don't need a whole pack of paper. You can see my black paper is a little bit used, wrinkly on one edge. I'll do this one just right here, just to show you that I do know how to do it. All right, so a 2-inch strip and a 1-inch strip for each of the 3 colors that you're going to use. I'm actually going to move my background piece out of the way. And now you need a couple of pieces of like chipboard or fairly heavy, fairly thick cardboard. You're not going to be able to use cardstock for this. This happens to be the cardboard that Creative Memories packages in our cardstock pack. So I have tons of it. I've cut it to 4x6. You're going to need a couple pieces. Well, you need one to do the layout, but the second one's going to come in handy when you want to put pictures on there. And what you need to do is you need to cut this at a 30-degree angle. Now, there are a couple of ways you can cut a 30-degree angle. You can use a protractor. I don't know if anybody still has one of these around. I'm not quite sure why I have one of these around, except that I like rulers and protractors and some of those things. And so if you're going to do on a protractor, you have to mark the middle. There's like a little circle right here. Well, first you got to make sure that the 30 can be seen. And you mark the middle and then the 30, and then you draw a line and cut on that. But for me, I have found that the easiest way for me to cut a 30, a 45, or a 60-degree angle is using the Creative Memories 13-inch cutting mat. And so all I do on here, now I've got this backwards anyway, is I line up with this 90-degree angle line, and I line up, make sure that the point covers the 30-degree. Make sure this is straight, because you need it super straight. And then I'm going to mark here the center where it all kind of comes together, and I'm going to mark at the 30-degree. And then I'm just going to take my trimmer and cut this. Now, if I had done it this one, I would have had to draw the line because I couldn't get the marks exactly at the edge. This was the protractor side. But on the trimmer, all I need are those two little dots that I drew with my pencil, because I'm just going to line up with my trimmer. And you want this to be as accurate as possible, just because we're doing geometric shapes and that we want the lines to line up. So you may want to use your sight lines and cut through a couple times, because it is chipboard. And then anytime I make one of these templates, I like to write what the degree angle is on this. So this is a 30-degree angle, and I've done a video using these before. These were not my original idea. These little wooden little cardboard templates are an idea that I got from Megan Jacks, who is a very, very talented Creative Memories advisor who has several really cool YouTube channels or YouTube videos. Okay, so you can do this either way. You could do it like this if you prefer to work at the top. But I like to do it this way. And you'll see this is the 45-degree angle line that's already on here. It would have been so nice if it would have worked with the 45-degree angle line, but it doesn't. It only works with the 30-degree angle. And so you're going to take, you need some washi tape, and you're going to tape this to your trimmer, line it up against this raised edge, and line it up with this section right here, so you know that the blade tracks are going to close. If you put it too far in, the blade tracks aren't going to close. So this little raised edge right here, it's at about the 2-centimeter mark, I guess. And we're just going to tape it down with some washi. And probably the more the merrier with the washi tape. Just, you don't want this to slide. Now, when you do the actual angled piece, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you see on here with the washi tape, it's not a very sharp edge. It's kind of a rounded edge, but you want a very sharp edge that you'll be able to line your cardstock up with. So I like to tape onto the cardboard, not touching the trimmer yet, and then I just take my thumbnail and kind of push it right up against the edge of the cardboard. So then I get this crease. I don't know if you can see that that's like a pretty sharp crease on here, so that when I line my paper up, it's going to be able to go flush. If when you do that, you cut through with your fingernail, know that that happens to me all the time. And that's not a deal breaker. You can just use another piece of washi. Okay, so we're going to start with our 2-inch piece. And to make a triangle, the secret is that you want the width of your paper and the length of your angle cut to be the same. So I'm going to first take my piece of black paper, line it up so that the cutting line is on the long edge. If you do it like this, it won't work. So make sure that the cutting line, is past the corner, and trim that first edge. Then you have to flip this over so that when you line it up again, the edge you just cut lines up with one of these straight edges. And you'll see here's the template, but I'm mostly using the line because my cutting thing is, I'm not sure that it's as perfectly straight as this is. So I've got a 2-inch strip, and I'm going to cut my triangle on the 2-inch line. So there's one. There's two. All right. You're going to need 2 each of the 3 colors with the 2-inch, and then you're going to need 4 each with the 1-inch. And I'm going to show you a couple of options. If you did not want to cut the 1-inch strips, it is a little bit more, one extra step to do it that way. I mean, I guess either way, you're going to have to do some extra cutting, because what we want to do is cut these guys in half. So here's my 1, 2. So you could take your 2-inch and cut 2 more triangles, and you can get exactly 4 triangles from a 12-inch piece of paper, and then line these up on the 1-inch line and cut. But I always worry a little bit that it's scooting. This is a hard size because it barely covers. I mean, you barely have room for your fingers to hold on to that. So you could do it that way. You're going to need 4 of the small, or you can take the 1-inch strip that you cut and do exactly what we did for the 2-inch, still cutting it on the 2-inch line. So once you've cut that first one, it's faster because you don't have to turn it over again. You can just scoot it down. And so we're going to cut 4. So it's up to you to decide which one you feel is, more work, less work, easier, more complicated. I don't know. So there's my 4 with the medium, and I'll just quick cut the 4 with the black. Now you could do this with, pastel colors. I think it would look really cute with, yellows for spring. I don't know how it would look with, not in the same color family. You could maybe do, yellow, pink, purple for Easter or something like that. But for this first one, I'm just going to stick with the 3 colors in the same family. While I've got this out, I am going to cut, actually, I'm going to cut here my other piece of chipboard. I'm going to cut at 1 3/4. This is for later, but I'm going to cut at 1 3/4 and cut me a template to use for sizing my photos later. So this is a 1 3/4 inch wide strip, and I'm going to cut it at, again, 1 3/4. So this is kind of later on, but this way I can put my trimmer to the side, and I won't need that again. So there's my 1 3/4, and that's going to be my sizing template for my pictures later on. All right. So now we're going to take our background piece, and we're going to arrange these papers on here. And so this is when you're going to want to refer to the top, middle, top, left, right diagram. And I'll post this somewhere, maybe on my Facebook page. I'll put in the comments. I always share my YouTube videos to my Nicole Scrapbooks Facebook page. I will post this in the comments when I share this video over there. There's no way, I don't think, for me to attach a file to a YouTube. I don't have a file sharing site. But we're going to do this top, left, right with the colors. And the first one, you want to do the medium color over here on this side. And I found that if I use my zero centering ruler from Creative Memories and I put it on the 1 inch line so that my piece is going to be 1 inch out. And I chose to use the repositionable adhesive. I'm going to line this up with this point at the 1 3/4 line. And that way I just know that my first piece is going to be a little bit straight. And it's not going to all the way be straight. So that's why I liked using the repositionable here. So I'm going to use this was the middle, so this is medium. So now I need to do the top, and that's going to be this piece. Now I've cut it, so sometimes you're going to have to flip it. This one, we're going to line up these long sides, and you see we're trying to make this cube. So we'll put this on here, top. And because we are humans and we don't necessarily cut perfectly even, there is going to be a little bit of wiggle room in here. You're going to have to kind of fiddle with it a little bit just to get it the way you want. So there's our first cube, top, left, right. And then we're going to move to the next one. And I don't necessarily know like if there's an easy way to do this, but we're still going to do this top, left, right. So the next piece I want to do is the left. And I want to line it up right here to make a straight line. And then I'm going to do the right, which will be the black. And in the middle, we are making a hexagon. So as you're working, kind of keep this hexagon shape in your mind. And that'll just help you figure out these pieces because they just, you just got to remember you're making this cube shape. All right. Then we're going to do left is medium. And this is going to be my hexagon in the middle. Top is the light. And right is the dark. All right, some of these are actually already lined down on my table in the direction I need them to go. And you see, once I get the pieces down, then I just kind of have to wiggle these around. If you're more careful at cutting maybe than I am, you might not have the same kind of issues. But this is, of course, you know, scrapbooking, so it's okay to be a little homemade. So now we're going back to here. This is basically the same block we're doing twice. And so it's going to be the same with the medium on the left. This one, actually, I'm just going to kind of eyeball. I'm going to have to fiddle with that a little bit. And then here's my top piece. So I need it to line up with that. So you can see that my big diamond is wrong. But that's why I use repositionable. I'm going to position this. And just by lining this up, that's keeping my things pretty straight. And you can see why it would be difficult to do this with pattern paper. Actually, I think I like putting the two sides together and then putting the big diamond in here. So who knows, it may work better if you use the original, Die Albert's original plan. Try that. All right, that one seems to be cut a little bit better. I do love the repositionable. All right, so this one, it's going to be this piece right here. So I need to have the top. And then the left is my medium shade. And then the right is the dark. So you're kind of trying to imagine a light source kind of maybe from here. You know, that's kind of how these optical illusion geometric shape things work with the way the light hits a cube is, all right, now I'm going to scooch that all down just a little bit. Like I say, repositionable adhesive is your friend on this. Trying to get these corners as lined up as we can. Oh boy. This one, one of these I must have cut not quite straight. But you can see that I can just kind of fiddle with it and make it work. And then the last one, this is going to be the top right here. All right, I'm going to have to come back and play with that a little bit. And then left. Okay, so you don't want the lines to line up. You want it to go to make that corner. So we'll do this left piece and then the right. So be sure to position it, make sure you're where you need to be. Okay, so now you can see I didn't meet up in the middle. Let's see where I've messed up. I'm just going to see which of these is closer to straight. That's not very straight. But I bet this one's not straight at all. So I'm going to just, you saw I had trouble with this one earlier anyway. I'm just going to scoot this guy up. Scoot this one over. Just to get my nice hexagon right here in the middle. And then, oops. Oh, come on. So don't get worried if it doesn't work out at first. You just wiggle things around until you get the right look that you want without the background showing through. Like I say, flip them over sometimes if you need to. All right, there we go. I think that turned out pretty cool. And again, you see this top, left, right, with the top being the light one, the left being the medium, and the right being the dark. So you can hopefully see that shadow look that we're going for. And then if you look at the one that I put pictures in, what I did was I cut another triangle to be this 1 3/4 to be my pattern for the pictures that I wanted to put inside the triangle. And because it's a 1/4 inch smaller, it gives you that little border all the way around. What I like to do, and I've done another video about this, is to make a template, a tracing template, so I can see what my picture is going to look like from, rather than covering up the part I want to see, I want to uncover that part. So I just take a piece, again, this is that paper that, you know, I always talk about that I saved. I take my little template that I used and a pencil, and I'm just going to, I mean, I could make it really straight. I guess I will try and make it straight, line it up with these lines. So I'm just going to trace this template. I'm going to write again on here 1 3/4 so that I remember, and I'll write 30 degrees because you can do diamonds in with different angles. And then I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and, oops, I need to have my points probably straight. Take my X-Acto knife and cut that out. And you could probably do this on your trimmer, but for me, an X-Acto knife is just kind of easier. And I really tried to figure out mathematically how to cut some of these things, but I was an art major and that's just not how I roll. So I just have some extra pictures that I'm using for my sample. This is from Disney World, Small World. So like you could put, you know, use this to see which pictures are going to work if you wanted to put them on this layout. But remember that they're going to be in different directions. So don't just go ahead and cut all your pictures right at first. First go through and say, okay, I need to cut this piece right here, and it's kind of at this angle. So I need to trace my picture like this. And I actually did go ahead and use the photo labeling pencil to trace my shapes, and then I just cut them out with scissors. Again, you could use your trimmer, your personal trimmer. And then I cut all the pieces to make these little pictures to go in here. I think this would make a great title page if you wanted to put a title in the middle. I really am curious to see if this is all you want, you can leave. This is the part where I'm going to ramble a little bit. I'm curious to see what happens if we do some more triangles and fill in some of these shapes. So I'm going to cut just a couple more triangles just to play around with, if you wanted to not have that white background, if you wanted to kind of fill it in. Because I think you can take these triangles and they should still fit. I mean, again, my math is not computer perfect, but you could kind of keep going and have a very cool looking continuous design. After you've done this, then you could, do another one right here. You could do more of this side. Lots of things you could do with this kind of geometric illusion after you've done with the base page. If you want to do the hexagon picture in the middle, this is another one I really did try to come up with a way to do it that I could just have you measure it and cut it on the trimmer. And that was just beyond my mathematical capability. So I'm going to take this little 1 3/4 piece that I have for here. I'm going to trace around it. Keeping it straight. And then I'm going to do this. And when you do this, you realize, well, first of all, you can have this cool chevron shape if you want, but this is, you can make a cube like this. You wouldn't have to have the skinnier sides. But this gives you that hexagon shape. So you could do the same thing with the X-Acto knife and cut this out. I guess I'll do it while I'm talking about it. Cut this out and use that as your little frame, your template, to cut the picture for the middle. So this is a little more work than, probably you want to spend on most layouts, but I think it does give a really fun look. So then this one, of course, on this, you see that the points are at the top and bottom. This is barely 4 inches at the 1 3/4. So just when you cut, actually it might be not quite barely, you might even have to go at a little smidge at an angle. You can see on here it didn't quite have the point at the bottom, but hopefully you didn't notice that till I pointed that out. All right, so this is the illusion page. I really want to thank Sherilyn Jones for bringing this back to my attention. Of course, Di Albert in 2001, who came up with the idea originally. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching my channel and for trying out some of these layouts that I share with you. If you create this and you want to share it, the best place I know is to share on my Nicole Scrapbooks Facebook page. Post in the comments. I will share this video there and post in the comments over there if you would like and you want to share this with me. Thank you so much and happy scrapbooking.